What's going on, Gemini? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having an amazing week so far. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. We're still in the Mercury retrograde shadow, so that explains all this word talk. Because I was like, wait, we're supposed to be done, but it's been a little tricky, Gemini, and yeah, your support really is just astounding, Gemini, even with all the word salad. And it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Harry Self has brought you here. We're in for an amazing journey. Because it's General Energy Weekly Spread. Yes, Gemini, with this weekly spread, whenever you happen to come across this video, there may be some messages in here for you. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said there, Gemini, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Crystals, feeling lovely. Just great energy all around here, Gemini. Now, I'm going to pull a few oracle cards from this deck here, and then we will get some details with the tarot. But before we jump into this thing, Gemini, these readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations, okay? Oh, how interesting. Cancer got something similar earlier. Thank you. And in case if y'all were curious, the decks that I'm working with, I've included links for them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested. But also down below some links for some other readers that are like watching their Gemini, so definitely check them out. Very unique insights that they bring, very powerful messages that I think you may resonate with. Also, there is a link for a couple of astrologers that are like watching as well. I think one of them's a Gemini rising, so that's exciting. Got a little Gemini support. I have a Gemini moon there. Look at that, Gemini. And then also there's some links for some apps I like working with, and I'm gonna start including some other sources that I like as well there, Gemini. So stay tuned for that. I like to make sure that it's a sort, gotta make sure I'm reading the source and go through the thing before I post stuff. So definitely look forward to that in the future. But look at you, Gemini here. I feel like it's time to tap into that curious mind of yours, because you have the Painter card in reverse here, and this is a card of productivity and creation. And I feel, Gemini, this energy is asking you, how have you been feeling up this time, in between, just when you just happen to have some downtime? Are we utilizing this as a means of creating something, in a sense? And I feel with Gemini energy, it can be a little bit trickier, where unless you happen to maybe have a lot of like Taurus in your chart, or a lot of earth to kind of ground that. But Gemini energy is one that is, you're the great multitasker, can be just all over the place, can take all, can be curious and jump around in multiple energies at once. And I feel that this is not just creating for creation's, for this. Well, in a sense, I feel like it's this creativity that is going to, that means something, in a sense. Like, we're, as opposed to just like, oh, I think I'm going to learn, oh, who knows, like, what's the language? Just like a random language of a country that you'll never visit there, Gemini. More so like, okay, instead of, let's say, and not that you should never go there, but I'm struggling. Let's see, what would be, just you get where I'm coming at with this, Gemini. I feel that it is being a little more intentional with where we're putting our creative energies, in a sense, to not try to be so scattered, but to find a focus and to find how we can take one subject and grow off of that one thing, as opposed to doing a bunch of things that don't have any sort of things together. I feel like sometimes in like that sort of like when we get in that new calendar year, and we have this sort of surge of Capricorn energy that's coming through here as we're going through their season, getting into Aquarius. We do have a lot of earth energy that we're in right now, and I feel that sometimes we can let that get us like overly stimulated and overly excited to where we're just starting a whole bunch of things. We want to start time gardening, and then also wanting to be a marathon runner, and also wanting to paint more, and also wanting to change our career, but also wanting to change our location. And it's like you can do all of those things, but I feel like it's having a more methodical type of approach to it in a sense, you know, really listening to intuitively what your needs are at that moment and letting that guide you, because all this Capricorn energy is ruled, the dispositor for all this energy is Saturn, who's in Pisces for the next few years, which is forming a square with your sign. But I feel that push in order to expand yourself creatively and spiritually is a nice little plus there. And I feel that as we become a more mindful and understanding our feelings and where these energies are trying to lead us, that our creations have more longevity and more impact and more meaning there, and more constructive use of your time there, Gemini, if that makes sense. But let's get some tarot on this and get some details. And I even feel with this energy too, Gemini too, also absolutely Queen of Wands, not limit yourself creatively. I will say that too. Explore different options for sure, but I feel like when we find things that, you know, something that really kind of sticks, explore that passion. Because even just thinking with the Queen of Wands, that's Aries energy, and Aries is one that can just sort of just start things up. We kind of just do things on an impulse, but we want to be just a little more thoughtful, I feel, so we don't end up with this Five of Cups, these just sort of disappointed energies here. But thank you. All right, Gemini, let's see what's going on here. Oh, interesting. All right, so you have Queen of Wands here, the Three of Cups, the Five of Cups, and the Page of Pentacles upright. And then you have the Death Rebirth card here in reverse there, Gemini. And, you know, it's interesting because I feel with this Page of Pentacles here, you see how they're just kind of rooted in the ground here. There's this, they're like establishing this sense of peace. There's, the Page of Cups is this energy of, I feel that they're this symbol of growth, and but I do remember it's like kind of going at it like, the imagery that I'm getting is like going at it like a tree in a sense. It's like really being grounded in where we're growing, how we're growing in terms with the, because trees, and when you think of just about like nature and things, there is this sense of community. There's this sense of harmony that's going on in nature. One pays a function, no matter how big or how small. You know, it plays. They all play a part here, Gemini. But I feel that there's this, it almost feels like this painter, this is like the way that we've been sort of going about these things haven't been leading to any sort of growth. It's like we've been doing things to escape, possibly, as opposed to doing things instead of facing what these creations may be trying to build for you in a sense. Maybe the reason we can't be productive with what we're trying to create is because there's some sort of deep-seated thing that keeps getting in the way of that, and then we take on this narrative of being, oh well, I can't start anything, and then it can lead to this upheaval when those emotions come up, and then there's not that understanding, and then we get stuck in this sort of cycle here. And so it just feels like this, again, this Page of Pentacles is when we start something here, it's following to where it leads. You know, because the Queen of Wands, she's in other wands, or in other depictions of her, she has these sunflowers in her card, and the sunflowers always face where the sun is. But even with all these candles that are around this Queen of Wands here, I feel that this is even a good example. There are so many candles here that she could even partake in, but she's found the one here that's brought her joy. And I feel like it's to maybe just even just kind of it's kind of even like, I feel, taking, And that's interesting too there, Gemini, considering that you are the communicators of the zodiac. It's taking the ideas that you get from others, from people that you learn, whether this be on the internet, whether this be through conversation, however your mind is being engaged. But now it's taking that energy and how are these influencing these changes within you, and what is this creation? How are we being more constructive and productive with these intuitive gifts and things that I feel you get through conversations with others? They can seem very commonplace in the moment, but they could have these more deeper, profound type of effects here if we take a moment and just kind of sit with them. Kind of, I don't know. It's like a picking things, or being like being this detective here. This is very interesting energy, Gemini, that's coming through here. And just one last little thing on this, just pay attention to the reality that you're painting here. Just kind of, because the death rebirth card, that's Scorpio energy. And Scorpio energy is one that it's the fixed water sign. And so it can get caught in a spiral, and that fixity can be hard to break when we get caught up in something like that, especially so intensely there, Gemini. And I feel Gemini energy is one, being Mercury ruled, can have that, because you're looking for the details, that quest for more, that voracious appetite, that combination could be a tricky spiral there. So just, I hope that makes sense, Gemini. Just a little something to contemplate there. But let's get another oracle on this. All right, Gemini. Oh, interesting. All right, Gemini. I like this, because you have the cartographer here, which is a card of a crossroads and exploration. And so I feel with this, Gemini, that you are in a kind of unique spot here with how these energies are. We're in this place of where do we need to change, and then exploring what that change is trying to lead you to. It's like, because with this Five of Cups here, I feel like if you have any sort of like areas that we're feeling disappointed, as far as like maybe we've been wanting to start up this project, but we thought we'd be further along than we will, or maybe we're putting off something because we're so worried about maybe the validation of others, even just thinking with this Three of Cups here. But I do feel that we're at like a crossroads, as far as like, where do we go next? How are we going to navigate this new calendar year that we're getting into? How are we going to navigate this new energy that we're even getting into with Pluto getting ready to enter into Aquarius? And there's some powerful energies that's getting ready to come through here, Gemini. And we're getting ready to be in the age of Aquarius, really, with Pluto entering into Aquarius over the next 20 years. He's going to retrograde one more time into Capricorn this year, but after that, it's pretty much we're settling in. So, and this is going to be forming trines with your Gemini placements. I've already kind of got a little taste of this energy there, and it was fascinating. Pluto definitely does bring stuff to light there, Gemini, but it helps transform you. It shows those energies that have power over you, so that you can evolve and build this resilience there. And so, and once we even get into 2025, the energies are going to shift from this more. We've been in a lot of heavy type of earth and water energy over this year now, but 2025 is going to shift, because Neptune, Saturn, and Uranus are going to be moving into, Neptune and Saturn will be moving into fire signs, kind of going back and forth between that. That's going to be some interesting energies, especially of early degrees of Gemini, and or early and late degrees even of Gemini. But yeah, we're going to be where a lot of opportunities are getting ready to open up for you, Gemini, especially I feel with Uranus getting ready to transit through your energy. There's going to be a lot of unexplored territory within yourselves to get into. And this is an energy to Queen of Wands, to get pumped, to see because I feel these candles here down here too, Gemini, are your potential. Like there's so many things that you can tap into and learn about yourselves into. Just it's just where do you want to foster, where do you want to focus in all of that excitement and all of that big energy that's coming through there. So but let me get some tarot on this to clarify this cartographer. And Gemini, this is a great time to be thinking expansively too, because Jupiter's getting ready to go through your sign here too. The planet of abundance passing through, and that's going to be an interesting time for you too. Jupiter forming conjunctions with your placements. It's a can be a very very fun time, very abundant time, one of learning, of great strength. I'm with it, Gemini. Let me finish up getting these cards here. All right, Gemini, let's see what's going on here. Oh, and there's one of your cards for me. All right, so you have the King of Swords, the Two of Swords, the Moon card, and the Justice card in reverse. And then you have the Knight of Wands and the Strength card upright here, Gemini. And I like that you have this Knight of Wands and the Strength card here in this with this energy of exploration and crossroads, because in learning more about this journey in your place that you, in and how the role that you're meant to play in this leads to a lot of crossroads, leads to a lot of place where you're going to need to be confident and trust in the divine and where this is going. We're getting ready to get into a powerful intention setting moon with this lunar, depending on when you're watching this, with the new moon that's coming up in Capricorn here on the 11th. And I feel this energy is going to help you get a little wiser there, because I feel right now with the King of Swords, it's like with where things may be going, it feels like with the Moon card, it's interesting because I feel that the Moon card could be this card of illusions and trickery, deceptions, but it can also be that fear of journeying into the unknown. But with it being in reverse, I feel that there is this, we may not know where things are going, but I feel we shouldn't let that fear of the unknown lead us to the state of indecisiveness, where we let the fears kind of crowd out the curiousness that comes with Gemini energy. Because I feel if you don't explore and you don't learn, then you would never, it would just keep you out of balance. And yes, I feel with the Justice card, is there going to be a lot of shadow work that comes through with this? I feel in order to get to that sense of peace here with justice, that there's some darker aspects that we need to deal with ourselves first, some things that we need to explore, some energies that we feel, maybe some strong emotions here with the Five of Cups. This is Mars in Scorpio. That's a very strong place. Mars rules over Scorpio along with Aries. But and even thinking too, Gemini, you've been going through a lot of healing energy. There's been a lot of opportunities, depending on where your placements are at, because Chiron's been going through Aries. Now that I'm kind of thinking about that, it's been going through Aries over, he's not the 15th degree now, but there's been a lot of that sort of like questions of where we need to focus on healing. How can we heal that sort of self-esteem, that take charge type of energy there? And with it forming sextiles with your placements, it depends on where that's at. It's sextiles are easy flowing energy. They create that opportunities, but it is taking what we've learned and turning that into King of Swords, into wisdom. Because it's one thing to have all this information, but if we're not being productive with it, if it's just sort of distracting ourselves in a sense, then. But I do feel the Knight of Wands is remembering in all of that energy, in these shifts and things, to keep that sense of play, that sense of excitement, where it's like, okay, we've come across a new challenge, but this gives me a chance to exercise that mind, to really get into that mercurial energy, to find solutions. You just got, your ruler just finished being in retrograde not too long ago Oh, when did he finish? Oh no, just this year, just on the 1st of January. Excuse me. And so you went from retrograding that, into that energy of Capricorn, thinking about your future, into back into Sagittarius, which is thinking expansively. How can I grow from that? What other experience? How can I take? Have I been making the most of what I learned with Mercury in Sagittarius, and what ways I can grow? Have I been grounding that in Capricorn? And if not, it was a time to reevaluate. So now you get another chance to go at this again, to kind of go bigger in a sense, to gain bolder and to be realistic in what you're trying to ground there, Gemini. So, all right, I like that. Let's get some tea. And then let's get your last card. All right. Thank you. All right, Gemini. Last little bit here. You have the Smith card here. And this is a card of overthinking and taking action. And I feel that we are in an energy, Gemini, where it is time to take action. We're in but I feel like it's not this, just this sort of just, because your Queen of Wands is upright. There's this very conscious, intentional effort. Yes, it can seem impulsive with how the Queen of Wands goes about things, but it's just because she's being divinely guided. She's not overthinking too much, in a sense. It's like when her intuition is telling her that this is going to bring her fulfillment, okay, let's take action. Let's find out what that means. What does that process have to, what lessons does this thing have to build, to bring? What do I need to learn? What experience is my higher self trying to get me to go to get to that highest vibration in this realm here? You have a lot of building energy here, Gemini, with you taking this, you being the cartographer here, taking this map and then painting. You're not just, you're being, I feel like, very detailed too with where you can do this map, in a sense. You really are only as limited as your imagination is. And Gemini energy is one that is very, very childlike energy, can deal with the early stages of learning. And that's a time when kids are just like curious about everything there, Gemini. And so I feel that it is, again, try not to let that overwhelm, but that to constructively take this active brain power and go at it and really kind of see the duality from a situation there, and to form your own opinion as to far as, like, it's like not letting other people tell you when to take action, when you intuitively just kind of know there. But let me get some tarot on this, Gemini. And I feel Gemini is one of those things that you may never feel entirely ready to embark on something. We may be trying to wait for that perfect moment. There's like one more thing that we need to learn, one more tool that we need, one more. But it's just like, at what point is that keeping you in this, are we just stagnant? Have we just gotten stuck? Where can we... Absolutely. Where can we manifest more? Because there's your ruler there, Gemini. Thank you. Because you got let me see what we got here, Gemini. So you have the Page of Cups, that's it. So you have the Page of Cups, and the Six of Pentacles up right here. And then you have the Two of Pentacles, the Four of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Magician card in reverse here, Gemini. And let's switch back over. Because I feel with this, Gemini, that there's this energy of needing to give into your imagination. I feel Gemini is one that does have a very, very fast mind, one that can see things from multiple perspectives there. And I feel if we've been at this question as far as like, what do I want to create? You know, what kind of legacy am I leaving behind? How am I leaving this place a higher vibration than when I started? I feel it's interesting with with the Queen of Cups there. There's this, I feel like there's this vulnerable side that we're kind of looking into ourselves and asking even just something as simple as what would make you happy. What would you, if you could just create anything right now? Maybe this is a new, maybe you want to feel more comfortable in your body and whatever that looks like. You know, maybe it's from what we're eating to moving a bit more to maybe we're running, maybe we're doing yoga, you know, what, or we're meditating, we're calming that anxiety, or maybe we want to, what would bring you peace? I feel with this Queen of Cups, maybe it's a new location, maybe I even feel like it's like even freeing ourselves up from a relationship, you know, whatever that looks like. But I feel just like, what do you want to celebrate in? You know, what do you picture yourself doing? What does you in a happy state of in a high vibration look like? And then don't overthink that. Follow that action. See, because you have all the tools within you. You know, I feel for some that we might feel that we don't, there's something that we're missing, you know, that because, you know, like compared to others who have it easy and have all this stuff, we all have challenges there, Gemini. You know, it just translates, and that's where that duality is going to need to come into there too. Who was I talking with about? It was like really heavy duality. Aries was one that I was talking with a heavy duality about. And I feel it's really paying attention to with the Six of Pentacles as far as like where we're giving our energies to. You know, has our creative energies been tied in things that have been productive to our growth or constructive to our growth, or have we been, you know, maybe just sort of checked out in a sense, you know, maybe just sort of going with the day to day, just been kind of same old, and, you know, just because this magician is feeling this understimulation is what I'm kind of getting here, and there's a need to do some more things that excite you with this Four of Wands into a sense, and I feel like it's seeing something through whatever this is looking like, you know, buying that ticket, you know, for that maybe that overseas trip or that trek around the world. And again, we're being reasonable with this, Gemini. We're not going to put yourself in any sort of you know, trouble, but I do feel we don't want to constrict ourselves either. Where there's a will, there's a way. I feel like this magician is, and we are as powerful as our minds. So we say that we can't do something, then so it will be. Two of Pentacles, thoughts becoming things. So let's make that possible, you know, and see in the ways that this can heal you. And I feel even for some, we could be even be this last little thing here, Gemini, we could be avoiding a certain action because maybe we feel that, because it was an interesting perspective that I heard on a podcast not too long ago, and I really, this almost gave me chills when I was thinking about it. But it's like, you know, we take these work or whatever, this go down this crossroad, we take a path, we're hoping that this sort of sense of energy is, you know, whatever it is that we're trying to heal will heal, but then we get to this thing and maybe it doesn't do it for you, you know, maybe it's, you still find yourself like, okay, now we have all these, you know, we've accomplished this thing, but we're still maybe feeling the sense of loneliness, or maybe we feel, you know, we got married, we got the kids or whatever, but we still aren't feeling like something doesn't, and it can apply in a number of scenarios here, but I do feel it's like it's trust in the process here, Gemini, in that it's hindsight is 2020. I feel that is what that King of Swords is giving through. We may not understand and be able to celebrate a situation in a moment, especially if we were aiming, thinking that something was going to heal us, and then it doesn't happen. Then it's just like, but then I feel like too that invites you, okay, well, what do we do next? Because in anything, let that be an uplifter there, Gemini. Because I remember telling someone this once, where it was like, Okay, you focused on this thing, you didn't get to where you needed to be, but look at how far you got it, and that thing wasn't even what may not have been the thing that was really resonating with you. You may be trying to force something. Imagine when you find something that syncs with you, how that's gonna just take off there, and how that's gonna grow. So, it is a matter of perspective and how we give that energy. How we shift that paradigm in a sense. So in finding the wisdom in all these energies there, Gemini. So I think I'm gonna leave that there. Hopefully that made sense. But I think that, Gemini. But if anything resonated with you, if you like that, give it a thumbs up and share this, Gemini. If you know someone who's been just maybe been doing things to just kind of escape facing some sort of future, or maybe overthinking about taking action, just kind of stuck at a crossroad, needing to just be curious, share this, because I feel the more that you explore that curiosity, it's keeps you youthful, keeps you growing, keeps you, I don't know, just really great. I feel like for your energy. And you subscribe there, you strength card. If you haven't already, hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each week. And then last little bit there, Gemini, if you have any Cancer in your placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mercury, come on over to the Chariot and Friends. I do videos. It's only a few signs that I can actually do that with, so it's just like I enjoy it when I can there, Gemini. But I do tarot card readings based off the what sign and phase that the lunar cycle is in, and kind of try to operate for, explain it from the energies from that perspective of that current energy that we're in. And and just aspectually through the signs. And I'm actually thinking about getting a little deeper with how I'm doing on the channel too. And we discussed when she goes void of course, lunar shenanigans. So if you're ever just curious about, just thinking about how we relate to the moon, and because sure, Cancer, my sun signs in Cancer, we're ruled by the moon, but we're all affected by that lunar energy as well. So if it's just something you're even just curious about, I have a moon in Gemini, so I love Gemini energy. Y'all can come over whenever you feel like. That housekeeping is down in the description box below, but let me get you surprise cards here. Ooh, so I can get you out of here. And how fascinating, speaking of lunar shenanigans, this is where the new moon's going to be happening in Capricorn. You got the devil here, Gemini. And I feel that, because that's what that painter was kind of giving me, and didn't think to mention that, it was giving me devil vibes. There's possibly this thing of pouring our energies into something else in order to feel like we're being constructive, but when we really take stock of what's happening, is what we're doing and what we're focusing on really bringing about any sort of real substance? I feel is the question that's kind of being asked here, Gemini. And what can we do to, because I feel for some, fear feels like the biggest thing, and I feel like that's collectively what's going down. Like there is this anxiety as far as like, putting ourselves in this sort of like in the hands of the universe, and trying to trust our intuition more, and heeding those calls, and seeing, getting this fulfillment in a sense of doing that healing work there, that shadow work with the Justice card. And I feel like it does start a lot with this. And this is something too, the devil is not meant to just be this card that just keeps you down. The devil reminds you of the things that prevent you from manifesting, that prevent you from tapping into that magician energy, and tells you that it's work in this realm, that nothing just comes to us easily. We do have skills that help, but it's just like, how does that skills create a certain set of challenges for us, and how do we work with those challenges with the tools that we've been given, and I feel the devil too is remind us to persevere, because he always evolves in how these challenges, because it's like when you think about growth and all these things, it's like working out. And I kind of like that analogy, because when you think about, let's say, running, you start to run, you run a mile, and that feels like the end of the world. But then next thing you know, a few months later, you're running 2 miles, and that's not necessarily any easier. If anything, you've just added on an extra mile, but you've also added on more endurance. You've learned how to control your breath more. You've learned different running stances and things. So you've gotten stronger, and that's what the devil is doing, it can, but sometimes I feel like we can get just caught in just the suck of it, that we're not seeing the growth, the death rebirth that is happening in there, Gemini. So I feel like that's what these energies are trying to get you at, and using these creative talents of yours more constructively there. And your ruler's out of retrograde now. Just thinking with that, Gemini. So, oh, interesting. So pay attention to, we were talking about that. Be receptive there, Gemini, because you have the goddess of dreams here. And this is a card of vision, intuition, and receptivity. And I've actually been thinking about that when we were talking about that new moon in Capricorn. Another person on a podcast, an astrologer, had talked about the lunar cycles in a way that I really kind of liked, and had started to kind of adapt as well, because the new moon is that fertile ground there, Gemini, and it's just like, what space do we need to clear in order to, it's not about just, I feel like, not just has to be about like forcing this intention. Oh, I want to do this. What is your body telling you that it needs? Is it needing more rest? Is it needing more creativity? Is it needing more exploration? Is it needing more, like, and really kind of tuning into the visions that you keep seeing? Do you see yourself traveling all the place? Do you see yourself, if maybe you're getting flashes of maybe volunteering somewhere, just and not really challenging it too much, just being curious. It's not that we're surrendering our sovereignty, but we're just seeing that we do have sovereignty in taking the actions from the visions that we do receive there, Gemini. So, and that you can make your dreams manifest. And I feel that's what's been going on with these squares, because you, Sag, and Virgo have been going kind of through it with Neptune going through Pisces all this time, and now Saturn following up behind Neptune, and they're both going to end that Pisces chapter together. So it's like, I feel like, and then when we get into that Aries energies, now it's going to be a time of taking action, in a sense, and that's so interesting. So maybe for some, you might have, maybe pay attention to your relationship with Aries too. That's because Aries had a lot of very Gemini like energies in there too. So if this is not with doing an Aries, check your chart and see where your Aries placement, because even if you don't have planets in Aries, there's your houses system. You'll need to know your time of birth for this, but your house systems, all operate in a certain area. Like I have Aries in the 9th house. And so, deals with like travel and learning and that side of aspects, which is something that I have been thinking about. So just some things to explore there, Gemini, to kind of pay attention to these little nuances and however they resonate with you. It doesn't just have to be through astrology, just whatever source makes sense for you. So, but I dig it, Gemini. I think I'm gonna get you out of here, but you stay safe out there. With these energies and where this destiny is taking you. It's exciting energy though, Gemini. So get pumped. You raise your vibration through the roof. Listen to Source, because Source can only come down so far. It's really, really dense down here in this realm. So we got to meet them. We got to meet them halfway with this. And then when we make that connection, those like the energies pull you up so that you can see from a higher perspective there, Gemini. I love that. And I will get you on the next one. Later.